Let's be honest. When a woman is falling hard, she doesn't announce it with confessions or dramatic gestures. She hides it in control, in restraint, in the quiet ways she studies you when she thinks you're not paying attention. If you've ever felt a strange emotional gravity around a woman, like she's closer than she should be without crossing a line, this is why women don't fall loudly, they fall inward. And that inward collapse changes everything. When she likes you too much, her nervous system starts treating you as a safe place and a threat at the same time. Safe because she feels seen around you, a threat because losing you would hurt. That tension rewires her behavior. She becomes unusually attentive but never desperate. She remembers tiny details you forgot saying. She adjusts her tone, her timing, even her body language to match yours. This isn't coincidence, it's subconscious alignment, and it only happens when emotions are deepening faster than she expected. You'll notice she creates reasons to stay connected without calling it need. She sends something random that somehow matches your mood. She checks in under the excuse of curiosity, not concern. She wants access to your inner world, but she wants it to feel earned. When a woman is secretly falling hard, she doesn't chase attention. She studies how to keep it. Another sign is emotional containment. She doesn't unload everything on you, even though she wants to. Instead, she tests safety in small doses. A personal story here, a vulnerable admission there. She watches how you respond, not to judge you, but to see if it's safe to fall further. If you listen without fixing, if you stay grounded without pulling away, her attachment quietly deepens. Pay attention to how she reacts to your absence. Not with anger, not with guilt, with subtle shifts. She becomes more thoughtful, more reflective, sometimes quieter. That's not disinterest, that's emotional recalibration. A woman who doesn't care moves on quickly. A woman who cares too much goes inward to regain control over feelings she didn't plan to have. There's also a softness that appears only around you. Her voice lowers, her movements slow, her guard relaxes just enough to show trust without surrender. This softness isn't weakness, it's exposure. She's letting you see the version of herself she protects from most people, and she only does that when her emotions are already invested. Finally, she mirrors your values without announcing it. Not your hobbies, but your principles, how you treat people, what you tolerate, what you walk away from. When a woman is falling hard, she doesn't just want you, she wants to align with the man she believes you are. That alignment is emotional gravity. And once it starts, it's difficult for her to stop. And the most important detail is this: her feelings grow fastest when she feels calm around you, not excited, not anxious, but emotionally regulated. That calm tells her you are consistency, not chaos. And once a woman associates you with peace, she doesn't fall once. She keeps falling. That is when attraction stops being a choice and becomes an emotional process she can't easily reverse without losing herself. And that realization quietly changes how she sees you forever. When her feelings deepen beyond comfort, control becomes her main strategy. Not control over you, but over herself. She senses the emotional shift before you ever do, and instead of leaning forward, she often slows down. This confuses men. You expect more pursuit, more obvious interest. But a woman who is falling hard becomes careful, not careless. She knows how powerful her emotions are, and she's trying not to let them take the wheel. You'll see it in the way she pauses before responding, not because she's uninterested, but because she's choosing her words with precision. She understands that once she says too much, she can't take it back. So she measures, she edits, she leaves space. That space isn't distance, it's self-P protection. She's trying to stay attractive while her heart is getting louder. Another quiet signal is how she reacts to your approval. Not validation, approval. Validation is attention, approval is respect. When she's falling, your opinion starts to matter more than she admits. If you praise her character, not her looks, she holds on to it. If you challenge her gently, she doesn't resist, she reflects. A woman who doesn't care defends herself. A woman who cares listens because your perception now influences how she sees herself. You might also notice inconsistency that feels emotional, not manipulative. One day she's warm, open, deeply present. Another day she's reserved, almost distant. This isn't a game. It's an internal tug of war. Part of her wants closeness, another part is afraid of emotional exposure. When a woman is secretly falling hard, she oscillates between leaning in and pulling back, trying to find balance without losing dignity. There's also a subtle increase in emotional generosity. She gives more than she takes, but quietly. She supports your ideas, encourages your growth, defends you when you're not there. She invests emotionally before she ever invests verbally. That's important. Women commit emotionally long before they commit out loud. By the time she admits feelings, she's usually been attached for a while. Pay attention to how she handles jealousy, not dramatic, not confrontational, but curious. She asks questions disguised as conversation. She listens carefully to your answers. She doesn't accuse, she assesses. When she's falling, she wants clarity without revealing vulnerability. Jealousy becomes internal data collection, not external conflict. Another sign is how she lets you see her imperfections. Not trauma dumping, but realness. She shares flaws without humor, without masks. That's trust. She's showing you the parts she fears could make her less desirable. A woman only does this when she's emotionally invested enough to risk being seen fully. And here's something most men miss. When she's falling hard, she starts imagining you in her future without telling you. Not fantasies, but logistics, where you'd fit in her life, how your worlds could align. She won't talk about it yet, but her decisions begin to account for your presence. That's not romance, that's attachment forming. The key thing to understand is this: her restraint is not disinterest, it's depth. She's not unsure about liking you, she's unsure about how much it could cost her emotionally. And the more emotionally grounded you remain, the safer she feels letting go of that control. Because when she realizes she doesn't have to protect herself from you, her feelings no longer need to hide. When her emotions cross from interest into attachment, her perception of you changes in a way that's almost invisible unless you know what to look for. You stop being just someone she enjoys and start becoming someone who affects her emotional state. Your presence regulates her mood. Your absence creates a quiet imbalance, and she won't tell you that because admitting it would mean admitting she's already deeper than planned. This is when she becomes unusually observant of you. Not in a suspicious way, but in an intimate one. She notices patterns, your energy when you walk into a room, the way your voice changes when you're tired, the moments when you withdraw. She's not trying to analyze you, she's trying to understand you, because understanding is how women create emotional safety. The more she understands you, the more secure her feelings feel. You may notice that she becomes more emotionally responsive than reactive. Instead of arguing, she seeks clarity. Instead of assuming, she asks, that's not maturity alone. That's investment. Conflict feels riskier when emotions are involved, so she chooses connection over being right. A woman who doesn't care protects her ego. A woman who is falling protects the bond even before it officially exists. Her attraction also becomes less performative. She stops trying to impress and starts trying to be real. Her laughter is softer, her expressions less filtered. She's not curating an image anymore. She's offering presence. That shift happens when she wants to be accepted, not just desired. Desire can be sparked, acceptance must be earned, and she's hoping you see her as more than a moment. Another powerful signal is how she reacts when you show strength without dominance, when you're calm under pressure, when you set boundaries without anger, when you lead without forcing. These moments don't excite her on the surface, but they anchor her emotionally. Her nervous system reads you as stable, and stability is the foundation of deep attraction. Passion pulls her in, stability makes her stay. You'll also feel a change in how she touches, even if it's subtle, less playful, more intentional, a hand that lingers, a shoulder brush that grounds instead of teases. touch becomes a form of reassurance, not flirtation. She's not testing chemistry anymore, she's reinforcing connection. That shift only happens when her feelings have moved from curiosity to care. She may also start protecting your image, not possessively but instinctively. She speaks well of you to others. She corrects misunderstandings. She doesn't exaggerate your flaws for humor. That's emotional loyalty forming before commitment. A woman who is falling hard begins to see you as part of her identity, and she guards that connection quietly. There's also an internal conflict she won't express. She wants reassurance, but she doesn't want to ask. She wants closeness, but she doesn't want to cling. So she waits, she watches, she gives you space to step forward on your own. This isn't manipulation, it's vulnerability disguised as patience. She's hoping you choose her without being pushed, and here's the truth most men never hear. When a woman is secretly falling hard, she's not asking herself if she likes you. She's asking herself if she can trust you with her emotional world. Every interaction becomes data, every reaction matters, not because she's judging you, but because she's deciding whether it's safe to let go. And the moment she feels that safety, her restraint dissolves, her feelings surface, and what was quiet becomes undeniable. The moment her feelings deepen past control, fear enters quietly. Not fear of you, but fear of loss. And fear changes behavior more than desire ever could. This is where many men misread the signs because her emotions stop moving in a straight line. They move in layers. She becomes more intentional, more selective, more emotionally aware of how every interaction could affect what she's starting to care about. You'll notice she becomes sensitive to emotional shifts, even small ones. If your tone changes, she feels it. If your energy drops, she notices. She may not ask directly, but her behavior adjusts. She gives space when she senses distance. She leans in when she senses openness. This isn't anxiety, it's attunement. Her nervous system has started syncing with yours. And that only happens when emotional attachment is forming. Another sign is how she responds to uncertainty. Instead of pushing for clarity, she becomes patient. Not because she doesn't want answers, but because she's afraid that pushing too hard could change the dynamic. She'd rather tolerate ambiguity than risk rejection. A woman who isn't emotionally invested demands certainty. A woman who is falling hard protects the connection by moving carefully. You may also feel a shift in how she communicates affection. It becomes indirect, layered with meaning. Compliments turn into observations. Flirting turns into presence. She doesn't just tell you you're attractive. She tells you how you make her feel calm, focused, grounded. These are emotional confessions disguised as conversation, and they carry more weight than overt attraction ever could. She also starts testing emotional consistency, not loyalty. She watches how you show up when there's nothing to gain, when you're tired, when you're busy, when you're not trying to impress. This is critical. Attraction can survive inconsistency. Attachment cannot. She's not looking for perfection. She's looking for reliability, someone who feels the same on good days and quiet days. You'll notice she becomes more thoughtful with her boundaries. She won't cross certain lines too quickly, even if the chemistry is strong. This isn't hesitation, it's valuation. She's protecting something she sees potential in. When a woman is falling hard, she slows down, not because she's unsure, but because she wants it to last. There's also a subtle emotional courage that emerges. She opens up about dreams, fears, and values, not all at once, but gradually. She's inviting you into her inner world without overwhelming you. This is her way of saying without words, "This matters to me." And she's watching to see if you treat it with care or take it lightly. Another overlooked sign is how she reacts to your growth. She supports it even if it creates distance. She doesn't compete with your ambition, she aligns with it. That's deep attraction. She doesn't want to be the center of your life. She wants to be part of a life that's moving forward. And here's the part most men don't realize. When a woman is secretly falling hard, she's not trying to secure you, she's trying to trust herself. She's asking whether her feelings are safe, whether her intuition is right, whether opening up will lead to connection or regret. Your job isn't to convince her, it's to be steady enough that her fear quiets on its own. Because the moment her fear settles, her restraint fades, her warmth becomes consistent, her presence becomes deeper, and what she once guarded carefully, she begins to offer freely. Not because you asked for it, but because you earned the space where she could finally let go. When a woman is falling hard, she doesn't just feel attraction, she feels a gravitational pull toward you that affects how she moves through her entire life. You start showing up in her thoughts in moments you don't even notice. The quiet of her morning, the idle scroll through her phone, the laughter she shares with friends, all of it begins to carry traces of you. She's not obsessed, she's attuned, and attunement is far more powerful than attention because it shapes her internal world around you without her ever saying it. You'll notice subtle protective instincts. She won't just think about herself, she starts thinking about you in ways she never planned. She'll adjust plans, actions, even daily routines to keep interactions smooth or avoid unnecessary tension. This isn't manipulation, it's subconscious care, a way of honoring an emotional bond she can't yet name aloud. Her choices begin to include you silently, as if she's running experiments in emotional proximity, testing the balance between connection and vulnerability. Her communication also changes. Messages aren't just check-ins, they carry nuance. The timing, the tone, the phrasing, all designed to convey interest without desperation. She's walking a tightrope between showing she cares and maintaining self-respect. If you misread this as ambivalence, you'll miss the truth. She's measuring your reactions before she gives more of herself. The more you respond with calm consistency, the safer she feels, and the faster her attachment deepens. Another sign is emotional resonance. She doesn't just react to what you say, she reacts to what you feel. Your joys, your frustrations, your silences, they affect her mood subtly. A woman who isn't invested might notice, but she won't carry it. A woman who is falling absorbs it. She's learning the rhythm of your emotional life. And the more she understands it, the more she calibrates her behavior to match yours. Not to manipulate, but to create harmony that her heart craves. You'll also see strategic vulnerability. She shares weaknesses, insecurities, and personal history in careful increments. She's testing the water, seeing if you'll respond with empathy or dismissiveness. And when you meet her softness with steady presence, her feelings don't just deepen, they solidify. Vulnerability is her currency, and she spends it selectively only where she senses emotional safety. Physical presence shifts too, not just flirtation, but subtle closeness, leaning in slightly, gestures that linger, positioning herself where she can feel your energy. These aren't conscious moves, they're instinctive, a silent acknowledgement that proximity matters because emotional gravity is already pulling her in. Finally, notice the quiet moments when she's alone. Her mind returns to interactions with you, replaying conversations, analyzing tone, imagining scenarios. She's not obsessing, she's internalizing. This is the difference between liking and falling. Falling involves mental real estate she didn't plan to allocate, a constant recalibration of her inner world to account for you. Here's the truth. Most men never see. Women fall in layers, slowly, carefully, with subtle checks and balances. By the time she hints, gestures, or shares openly, her attachment has already been cemented. Already, what you see on the surface is only a fraction of the storm beneath. And that storm, it's powerful, unspoken, and undeniable once it's fully realized. The final stage of a woman secretly falling hard is almost imperceptible until it hits you. She stops pretending her feelings are casual. Her restraint begins to soften. The layers of testing, observing, and guarding her heart start dissolving, not because she's reckless, but because she trusts that you can handle the depth she's holding inside. And that trust, that invisible permission to be fully seen, is more intimate than any words she could ever speak. You'll notice her attention becomes effortless. She's not chasing or fishing for validation. Instead, she's present fully, consistently. Small details matter to her. She remembers things you've forgotten. She notices shifts in your mood and she adjusts herself accordingly, not out of obligation, but out of care. That care, when genuine, moves faster than attraction alone. It's a gravitational pull that shapes her entire emotional universe around you. Her vulnerability also reaches new dimensions. She opens up about past pain, secret fears, or dreams she hasn't shared with anyone else. But notice, she shares them gradually, strategically, testing whether you respond with the steadiness that proves you're worthy of holding her heart. Every revelation is a silent declaration. I trust you enough to let you in. And once you honor that trust, she begins letting go of the internal walls she's carried for years. You might also notice a subtle merging of worlds. She includes you in plans, even hypotheticals. She imagines shared experiences without needing to announce them. She starts aligning routines, habits, and thoughts in ways that reflect your presence without forcing it. This isn't possessiveness, it's emotional integration. Her life begins orbiting around your reality, but quietly, delicately, in ways that only the most attentive men can recognize. Physical cues become more intimate but controlled. Touch lingers slightly longer. Proximity feels natural, and her energy synchronizes with yours. It's not overt flirtation, it's emotional resonance showing through her body. She's telling you, without words, that she feels a connection she can't ignore, and that connection has now become a part of her identity. And then there's the invisible test she conducts every day. Your consistency. She observes whether you're steady in who you are, whether your behavior aligns with your words, whether your presence feels safe, because her emotional investment now depends on stability, not excitement. Passion can spark interest, but emotional certainty keeps her attached. Once she experiences that, she stops holding back. Here's the reality most men never understand. When a woman secretly falls hard, she doesn't just like you. She reorganizes her entire emotional landscape around you. Every thought, every action, every pause, every decision is quietly measured against her feelings for you. By the time she finally shows it openly, she's no longer a woman in love. She's a woman fully committed in her mind and heart, whether you realize it or not. So, here's a question for you. If her emotional gravity multiplies by your consistency and her trust grows exponentially with your patience, how much space would you create in her life if you recognized it? Write your answer in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who needs to hear this truth.